Joining me now, politics reporter at the Federalist, Payton. Good to have you with us. Boston Herald columnist Adriana Cohen. Great to have you with us. And host of the Mike Gallagher Show on the Salem Radio Network, Mike Gallagher. Let me start, Bree, with you. This thank you tour is turning out to be a joyous celebration of an election. Like we really haven't seen a president-elect do this, and it seems to be a brilliant, brilliant idea. Your thoughts?
Yeah, I think it certainly is a unique move for him to play, and I think that, you know, it is smart or wise for him to point out this kind of like forgotten man narrative and kind of trot that out for the audience and remind them that, hey, no one was listening to you until, you know, I started rising to the forefront of people's attentions, and I started bringing the issues that you guys care about to the attention of the mainstream media and the political elites. And I think you're certainly right that his decision to go on this massive tour and just kind of highlight what he has done for these people who have been largely forgotten and left behind and neglected is smart.
Adriana, your thoughts on as we find out today that Rudy Giuliani had withdrawn from consideration for Secretary of State. I will tell you, it's a disappointment for me personally. I have the highest regard and respect for him. We also are looking at a number of establishment figures that are blossoming in his cabinet. And at the same time, he has this connection with all of these people, even as his cabinet is far more, I guess you would say, establishment than any of us would have anticipated from the campaign. Your thoughts?
Well, I agree with you, Lou. I'm a little disappointed with the Rudy Giuliani because he's America's mayor, and I remember 9/11 vividly and what incredible leadership he dispelled. He displayed at that time in our country, one of the worst days in our country's history. And so, but that being said, there still are other good candidates. They say now the Exxon CEO is sort of rising to the top and maybe selected as Secretary of State. So that remains to be seen. One thing that really
I'm a John Bolton fan. I'm a John Bolton guy. I wanted John Bolton and Rudy to be working together at State. I think it would have been an amazing team. And no one is more knowledgeable than Ambassador Bolton, and a terrific person. By the way, there's a story here I want to just share very quickly, and that is the consulting firm, if you will, the advisory firm that is Rice, Hadley, Gates. There's a story around that Rex Tillerson's name was proffered by none other than Condoleezza Rice. So I mean, it gets a little tight in establishment terms. Mike, your thoughts?
But Lou, don't lose sight of the fact that folks like Newt Gingrich, Rudy Giuliani,
neither of whom will be in the cabinet or apparently a counselor to the president.
Correct, but I believe we'll still have his ear and are going to be in the inner circle, and that's something that's encouraging. You use the word joyous. That's the right word to use right now. It's the right feel. Americans have such a sense of optimism that we haven't seen in decades in this country.
You know, by the way, another thing, the confidence survey, the sentiment index actually came out, and they had been expecting it to be around 94. It blew up to 98. That doesn't sound like much. That's a huge move in the confidence index. Let me turn to where we're headed right now. Bree, as you look at what the president-elect is doing, I will tell you, because you're much too young, but I can tell you there has not been a president-elect, including Ronald Reagan, who has ever had the start to this period of his leadership before taking the office, who's had the impact. It is an amazing performance. He is still being assailed by the national left-wing media. It is unrelenting. It's clear it's going to be the never-ending campaign on the part of a dwindling left wing speaking to an ever smaller audience, irrespective of the media in which they find themselves. Your thoughts on the fact that he is being just assailed?
Sure. Well, you know, I think it's really telling. There was an interview with the New York Times executive editor with WNYC's Fresh Air that aired, I think, yesterday, in which he basically admitted that none of his reporters, save for one, understands religion or the role that it plays in people's lives. And I think that that's very telling, considering that 83% of Americans do identify as Christian. You know, if the people serving in the newspaper of record and serving in the establishment media just really can't connect or can't relate, or just working with very different worldviews or ways of thought, you know, I think that it's very telling that their coverage of Donald Trump doesn't seem to accurately reflect or encapsulate the fears, the worries, the concerns that went throughout the election, and now the excitement and kind of this organic generation of excitement that we're seeing. So I think, you know, their constant attacks is just really revealing that there's a fundamental disconnect between the mainstream media and the rest of America.
Adriana, your thoughts on the same subject?
Yes, absolutely. Donald Trump has laid out an incredibly positive and robust blueprint for making America great again, and that includes a jobs renaissance and an economic renaissance. And I like the fact that he's now going to appoint the Dow Chemical CEO to this council to bring industry and manufacturing and all those jobs back to America.
Adriana,
and Donald, yes.
I'm sorry, we've got a hard out coming straight at us, and this is where I have to say, much too early, thank you, and we appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
Mike Gallagher, thanks so much. Adriana and Bree, thank you.